Here's Andy Kamenetsky.
Hello, Laker fans. Hola, Laker fans. Zdravo, Laker fans. I say that in all three languages because English, Spanish, and Slovenian are the languages that dare I say, face of the franchise. The guy has not even put a Laker uniform on yet. He will be officially introduced by the Lakers 9 a.m. at the facility tomorrow. Luka Dončić is the newest Lakers superstar. He is set to be the face of the franchise for the next decade in a deal that absolutely nobody, and I truly mean nobody, saw coming. This is Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetsky, thank you as always for being here. This is truly a pivotal moment in Lakers franchise history. 877-710-ESPN if you want to weigh in. We're going to be looking to hear from as many of you as possible. Also, we got some great guests lined up. In about 15 minutes, we're going to talk with Nick Angstadt from Locked On Mavs, get both a scouting report on Luka Dončić and get a sense of how they feel over in Dallas. Spoiler alert, they're mad. They are really, really mad. We're also going to be talking with Law Murray at 6:30, covers the Clippers and all things NBA for The Athletic. Get his thoughts on, again, this seismic deal in the NBA. And also, too, talk with him a little bit about the game tomorrow, because the Lakers do have a game tomorrow against the Clippers, being overshadowed by waves, arms around everything happening right now. But this game tomorrow actually does matter. Like, the Lakers are not going to have Luka, I don't think, for at least a week or two, and they need to win games to keep up the pace in a still brutally competitive Western Conference. So get a bit of an idea of what they face tomorrow with the Clippers. Then at 7 o'clock, we're going to be talking with Jovan Buha, covers the Lakers for The Athletic, one of the best out there. He's got a piece up right now about how this happened. Also, you should be listening to his podcast, Buha's Block. And look, we have been talking about this all day on the station. Yesterday, my brother Brian and I, my co-host for Locked On Lakers, available 5 days a week. Everywhere you get your podcast, Monday through Friday, always free, never behind a paywall. And for the sickos who like to watch, there is a YouTube component that those cheap plugs are not going to be changing in the Luka Dončić era. I can promise you that. That's right now. Like,
going to cost even more.
Oh, let me tell you, a lot's changed. That has not changed. What has changed, though, and this is awesome, Brian and I are becoming bigger in Slovenia. Like, we've had a lot, we are hearing from a lot of Slovenian fans of Luka Dončić who have shifted over to the podcast. They are very excited. Like, you know, the Lakers are a global brand as it is, but let me tell you something. If they hadn't conquered Slovenia before, they have conquered Slovenia now.
Tell them to send us some vodka.
No disrespect to, Sasha Vujacic. When he was here a little while ago, I'm sure he raised the profile of the Lakers over in Slovenia, but this is a whole new ball of wax. I'm obviously going to share some of my thoughts on this, like, truly unexpected development for the Lakers. Incredibly exciting, but again, 877-710-ESPN if you want to weigh in. Let's hear from Solomon in Lake Balboa. Solomon, of course, we're going to be hearing from you. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much. Happy New Year.
You as well.
I'm going to pump the brakes a little, and I'll tell you why. I think the Lakers gave up a lot, as far as I'm concerned, as far as losing Anthony Davis, because not only did you not get another big, which the Lakers were going to need going down the stretch, you got rid of the only legitimate big you got, and not just any big. I mean, you're talking about a supreme superstar, phenomenal rim protector, shot blocker, scores points, hits it from three. I mean, Anthony Davis is one of the premier centers in the league,
Absolutely.
And you just said bye-bye, okay?
Solomon.
And the Lakers were starting to play better, okay?
Sure.
And I understand you got a generational, franchise player in Luka. A little bit limited. He's a good scorer. He just plays no defense, and you got a ball-centric player again, sort of like LeBron. So I know the Lakers aren't done. They better not be done. And I might be dreaming, but and I might be completely on the moon if they could manage to get Miles Turner without, sacrificing and selling the farm, all is forgiven.
Appreciate the call there, Solomon. I mean, you hit on a couple things that are true. The Lakers, as far as how good are they right now, the answer is TBD. Like, we really don't know the answer to that right now because there's still, 60 hours between now and Thursday's trade deadline. We have not seen Luka and LeBron play together, and as much as the potential for generating offense is off the charts, I mean, we are talking about two guys who are an offensive system and factory in and of themselves. Like, Luka is, with the possible exception of Nikola Jokic, the closest thing we've seen to LeBron since LeBron in terms of a one-man factory of offense. Whether you're talking about the scoring at three levels, whether you're talking about the otherworld passing ability. Like, Luka is that level of passer, like the LeBron level, the Jokic level, the Magic level. Like, he really, I'm not saying he is as great as those play. I'm not looking to have a debate about where they rank in the GOAT conversation, whatever. I'm saying the passing ability is that great. He is an outstanding rebounder for his position and size. Like, everything offensive you would want from a player, you get from Luka. He is also a killer. He is a clutch player. He is big in big moments. He likes the spotlight. He's got that, I don't want to say alpha because that can get tossed around loosely, but just like, he is somebody that is not afraid of clutch moments. He is somebody that wants that pressure. He wants that spotlight. He holds big-time grudges. Like, he is one of those guys, kind of like the way Kobe was, who, and I think LeBron can be, where they don't forget slights. Like, I was talking about that, Nick Angstad will be joining in about 7 minutes or so, and he gave a list of, like, all these dudes around the league, even relatively lower profile guys like a Chris Dunn. Like, if you have ever slighted Luka before, he doesn't forget, and he wants to step on your neck over it. And that is an incredible quality for your franchise player moving forward. The Lakers do have holes right now. There is no question. Like, respectfully to Jackson Hayes, you cannot be a contender if he is your best center, which he currently is. I think losing Max Christie, and for those who need the deal points right away, the Lakers moved, obviously, Anthony Davis and Max Christie in a first-round pick for Luka Dončić, Maxi Kleber, who I don't think is going to be available this season. He just had foot surgery. At minimum, you can't count on him being available. And Markieff Morris, who I think is going to be more valuable for the locker room than on the court. So, and then Jalen Hood-Schifino went to Utah, third team, basically balancing money. But, like, the Lakers have holes right now. Like, there are things to figure out between now and Thursday. If you want to make the argument that they, in the short term, have gotten potentially worse for this season, that is possible, depending on what does or does not happen between now and Thursday. But the long term for the Lakers is more clear. It's more defined. It gives the Lakers front office a roadmap that they can actually follow now. It gives them the license to use that other first-round pick if they want to, because they don't have to worry as much about who is superstar X that we are maybe sitting on our assets to possibly get should he shake available somehow. That's covered. That's Luka. You have him now. So for the short term, yeah, there are things to figure out. For the long term, the Lakers answered a lot of really big questions that mattered. Squeeze one more call in before we get to Nick Angstad. Judas in Marietta. You're on Lakers Talk. What's up, Judas?
What's up, brother? I just wanted to kind of give another loser in all this. No one's mentioned for the last couple of days. And that's the Clippers. You know, they're thinking they might be got a new stadium, looking forward to the future, and then all of a sudden they thought, you know, AD, Bron's retiring, Lakers got no future coming, and and then we land another superstar, megastar.
That is.
And they're back in the back page again.
There's so many. I appreciate the call. There are so many moving parts to all this going on. I never even thought about how the Clippers may view this with their brand spanking new, from all I've heard, incredible arena. By all accounts, Intuit is amazing. They lost a little bit of that thunder once Paul George went to Philadelphia, just in terms of sheer star power anyway. But they don't have a lot of avenues towards what comes next for them because they've leveraged so much of it, bringing in Kawhi, bringing in Paul George, bringing in James Harden. But yeah, whatever thunder they were trying to strike, that went away really quick after this trade for Luka Dončić. He is a Laker. Nick Angstadt from Locked On Mavs knows him well. He will be joining us next, 877-710-ESPN. If you want to weigh in, want to be hearing from as many of you as possible, please be patient with holding. We'll get to you. Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA.
Hey everyone, this is Ramona Shelburne. Here's something I learned firsthand. A lot of ERs don't have pediatric specialists. But did you know that Children's Hospital...
Hi, my name is Victoria. I am from Sylmar, California, and I just want to say thank you to all the firefighters for everything that you've done. You are so brave, so just amazing and brave, and we appreciate everything you've done for the city.
I want to thank them. Without them, the fire wouldn't be the way it is right now. Little help, like you guys asked for. I got a few bobbleheads, a few jerseys, a few shirts that are brand new, and some baseball cards.
Thank you so much for the first responders and for the firefighters that are helping the community and the people of California and especially Los Angeles. And thank you so much for your work and keep doing what you're doing. You guys are the real heroes.
My name's Alfredo Famath and I'm from Sylmar, right next to the Hearst fire. We got evacuated, but I really want to thank the firefighters for saving my house and my friends' houses. I appreciate you guys, and without you guys, I don't know where to be at, probably without a home, but I really appreciate everything you guys do for us.
What's up, everybody? Cappy here, InsideCrypto.com, and I just want to take a second to thank all the first responders, the firefighters, but I'm going to take another direction here. I was talking about it on the air. Our friends at Lazy Dog and LA Live have been feeding all these firefighters. I'm going to send a shout out to all the wait staff who are feeding the firefighters, who can then feel good, be nourished, go to sleep, and then get out there and fight those fires. So to everybody that's helping, appreciate all y'all.
Hey, Henry Ramos here from El Monte. Hey, first responders, thank you for everything you guys are doing, and keep fighting on. And this is for Los Angeles. Thank you guys, and keep going. We love you, LA.
Only the Lakers can pull off.
All of a sudden, we see this news breaking from Shams that the Lakers have acquired Luka Dončić, traded Anthony. Yeah, I'm like, what?
Luka is a Laker.
And then it's retweeted with, "This is real," which, by the way, if you are hacking Shams, is exactly the retweet that you would put out there. This is real.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Now back to Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetsky.
Jay Kidd and I, we've had a vision in the culture that we want to create since we've been here. And the players that we're bringing in, we believe exemplify that. And, we think defense wins championships. And we're bringing in one of the best two-way players in the league. A lot of people don't talk about, what he does defensively and offensively. But, if you can name first-team All-NBA players that are also first-team All-Defensive players. That's a unique unicorn to try to find.
According to Mavs general manager Nico Harrison, they wanted a unicorn. They got one in Anthony Davis. Max Christie also joining in a first-round pick, part of the trade that brings Luka Dončić to the Lakers. And that is a big part of, according to Nico Harrison, why they made this trade that has both stunned and, frankly, perplexed the entire NBA landscape. Certainly one of those perplexed was Nick Angstadt, covers the Mavericks for the Locked On Network, the Locked On Mavs podcast. Nick, it's been 48 hours since this deal happened. You and I have spoken a few times. Safe to say you had many emotions. How are you feeling 48 hours later after this franchise-altering moment for the Mavericks?
Worse, somehow worse, I guess, at this point. Just seeing the response from Mavs fans and honestly seeing the mass exodus, I guess time will tell on that, but the mass exodus of people sending me messages and saying, it was great to know you, man. I really appreciate everything you've done for me, but I'll never listen to your show again or never see you again. Like the amount of people that are giving up on the Mavs. They're giving up on the Mavs and giving up on shows like mine and stuff. This trade really did affect so many people's lives, and it still feels like 3 days later, it still feels like the only person happy about this is Nico Harrison.
I mean, okay, that is a really strong reaction from Mavericks fans, and I get the idea of them being really pissed off, but at the same time, like, this is a fan base that has experienced championships. Like, I have not thought of them, and you know them better than I do, as like total front runners or bandwagoners or whatever. Like, is this just them being attached to Luka, or them really being mad at getting sideswiped by Nico Harrison and ownership?
I think a lot of the online stuff that you're seeing right now, there's a lot of Slovenian fans who I'm only a Mavericks fan because of Luka, and so I'm going to now leave. But there is a big amount of Mavericks fans. You saw them, if you saw the videos and the pictures in front of the American Airlines Center, two of them had a coffin that they brought to do a vigil for Luka Dončić. People were throwing their Mavericks gear at the feet of the Dirk Nowitzki statue as a shrine to Luka to say bye. There were signs about how Nico Harrison should be fired and all kinds of things, because this really affected people. And your point is correct that Mavericks fans are not front runners in that sense. They are deeply connected to Dirk Nowitzki, who had this incredible run where he wins MVP. Then the next year he gets out in the first round. They lose in the finals. Then he has to do his sabbatical in Australia. He comes back, and in 2011 they make this miraculous run and win a title that means so much to Mavericks fans. That title may mean more to Mavericks fans than any other fan base that I've interacted with in doing this job. And I think that Luka then coming in at the tail end of Dirk's tenure, playing with Dirk, and then bridging the gap from that era to now the Luka era, and now we're post-Luka era, which is absolutely wild. But to see that, Mavericks fans had such a connection to him and such a love and a deep appreciation for Luka. He was their guy, and now he's gone.
Talking with Nick Angstadt, covers the Mavericks for the Locked On Mavs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetsky. Obviously, I think it's very clear you would not have traded Luka in a million years. But removing that piece of it, as someone who covers the Mavs, how concerned had you been about Luka's conditioning and whether that was getting in the way of him reaching his truest ceiling, or if he ages, it's going to be tougher for him to rely on talent? Again, not trying to justify the trade, but just the idea of this being a concern for you.
Yeah, not enough to trade him. It's a concern for sure, but he still, you read you hear some of the responses from some of the executives around the league and stuff. They're there's a concern for Luka about his conditioning stuff. He still rolls out of bed and is an MVP candidate. That's what you're concerned about. At least he's producing. Maybe he hasn't reached his full 100% potential, but at least he's to the point where he's better than 99.99% of the players in the NBA. So,
that's pretty good.
It was a concern for sure. And part of the concern is that his conditioning was connected to some of these injuries, and that he's still having these leg issues over and over again, and that may never halt again, and then maybe he turns into Joel Embiid and something like that. And I don't know. Who is going to know? Who can predict the future on that with Luka? But that does seem to be the bet that Nico Harrison made. We talked about it on Locked On Mavs today that Nico Harrison made the biggest sports bet in NBA history by betting against Luka Dončić that he would ever reach his full potential, and that is an insane bet in my book.
Yeah, that is truly. You want to talk about a set of stones, whether you're talking about from Nico Harrison, whether you're talking about ownership. either signing off on Nico's premonition or giving Nico the directive, we don't want to pay for this moving forward. We are also betting against him, figure out what to do. How much of a sense, if at all, do you have of Nico Harrison, Jason Kidd, ownership? I know it's a new ownership group, so they may not know Luke on a personal level as well, but just people that have been around him trying to talk to him about this and like trying to get him to take better care of his body, like that they had exhausted possibilities before they got to this point.
Yeah, I mean, the Tim McMahon piece on ESPN today, kind of highlighted some of that. They had tried different ways, that Luka had even brought in his own team. This was a thing 2 years ago where Luka brought in his own nutritionist and chef, and he brought in a personal trainer and all that kind of stuff. And it seemed to work a little, and then he just goes back, and he has these moments where all of a sudden he's out of shape again. I mean, there was an 11-game stretch or 11-day stretch or something where the Mavericks, he was out because of a quote-unquote wrist injury, and we were all kind of skeptical about the wrist injury, and then McMahon's story confirms that it wasn't really because of wrist injury. They were trying to let Luka go and get in shape, like to go and have a run at getting back into shape at that point and to be in game shape and let him, do that. And it's wild that continues to be a problem. And yet still he could average a triple-double, 30 points a game, lead the NBA in scoring and hit the game-winning shot that night. He's just like a marvel in that sense, where he is so different than Kobe. That's when you try to compare superstars. And you and I on Locked On Lakers, we even talked about how he's kind of more like Shaq, where he doesn't care about his conditioning to a point. He's like, I'll play myself into shape, and he goes on this crazy run in March and April, and then into the playoffs, and then he's playing incredible basketball.
But then at the same time, we're talking Nick Angstadt, covers the Mavericks for the Locked On Mavs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Luka is a lot like Kobe in the sense that he's got that killer part of him, and he's got that grudge-holding part of him. He's the dude that is just a psychopath competitor, even if the commitment to fitness isn't there. I'm sure everyone listening to this show has seen Luka play many times, but as somebody who watched him on a game-in, game-out basis, what are some of the aspects of his game that jumped out at you in terms of just making him really special?
You're gonna make me sad, Andy. You're gonna make me sad going through all these. But I will say that if you heard Klay Thompson recently, there was that moment where Kobe came to one of Luka's games, and he was sitting there on the sidelines with the WNBA hoodie. He came over to Luka and was like, he gave him kind of a nod and dapped him up. And Klay said recently, he said that Kobe didn't do that for anybody. He got Kobe to leave the house, and he got Kobe to come out to a basketball game. That's how much Kobe admired Luka and thought of Luka and said, I got to go see this guy. And so I thought that was a good stamp of approval right there, especially for Lakers fans. But for Luka and his game, it's just that he can pick apart any defense. You can put any defense in front of him, he's going to pick it apart. Double teams. You can play drop coverage with your big. You can twist everything. You can give him a center. You can put the best defenders in the NBA on him. It just doesn't matter. He's going to find a way. He's going to figure it out. He's going to look at you from across the court, and he's going to say, you're not going to stop me. And if you do, I'm going to make it a point to come down the next play to score on you. And there's just some kind of mentality there that is a lot like Kobe in that sense. There's a story that Spencer Dinwiddie told us at Media Day 2 or 3 years ago, where the Mavericks brought to Luka. They said, you score 0.8 points per 100 per possession on this player. You score 1.2 points per possession on this player. So let's try to get you a switch to get you on the player that you score better against. And Luka said, no, I'm not going to do that. And he attacked the player over and over again that day that he scored worse on, just to prove that he could do it and to prove that he could actually go out there and score on that other player. And Dinwiddie did not confirm to us, but we guessed that it was Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert, and they went at Rudy Gobert over and over again in that series.
Oh, does he not like Rudy? I hadn't gotten that sense, Nick. They've never seemed to have any beef.
That's one thing now, Lakers fans. You have now just inherited a whole lot of enemies because Luka will have these random guys. Rudy Gobert is not random, but he's obviously one of them. Terrence Mann, Lou Dort, Mo Wagner, just these random players in the NBA that all of a sudden that hate Luka and Luka hates them.
How do you picture him and LeBron meshing, and the process between him and Kyrie eventually getting on the same page? Do you think that's a useful template?
Yeah, thinking about those two guys together is kind of wild, and I don't know that we've seen two guys like that in the NBA ever that can pass the way that they do. I know I saw a clip of the Laker Film Room podcast with Pete where they were just talking about the on-ball different combinations they could do with Luka and LeBron. They just started cackling because those guys know so much about the X's and O's and just know that like how those two guys can. They have every option. Like that's the thing about Luka too. Is he has every single option in front of him. You want him to post up. You want him to hit a mid-range shot. You want him to hit a step-back three. You want him. He very recently started to pick up the catch and shoot threes. That was like the one weakness in his game for a while, that he would shoot 37% on step-back threes and 29% on catch and shoot wide open threes, and it made no sense. But he's recently gotten better at that. Has been playing more off ball with Kyrie and all that. But that was the one weakness. So he sees LeBron and Luka together. The offense is just, I mean, every shooter could want to go play for the Lakers right now.
Last question for you. We're talking Nick Angstadt, covers the Mavericks for the Locked On Podcast Network. He's the host of the Locked On Mavs podcast. Luka has a reputation as, shall we say, a bad defender. How accurate do you think that is?
Luka Dončić can be a above-average defender in a good team. He has proven that over and over again. We have an episode of Locked On Mavs from like 2 or 3 years ago where we said Luka was an underrated defender, that Luka was a very good defender at times. He can if he's locked in. Statistically, according to Synergy and other places, he is one of the best isolation and post-up defenders in the NBA. So when he's locked in and he's got somebody in front of him, he can stay in front of somebody. He can form a wall and stop players from getting by him if he wants to, if he's motivated to. If the other time when he's not, or when he maybe out of shape or out of condition, or he's putting so much into the offensive end, taking 30 shots a game or whatever he decides to take, that he wears down and he's going to give up stuff on the defensive end. And for the Mavericks defense for a while, it was, if there's one weak link, the whole thing falls apart, and then all of a sudden the defense looks awful. And Luka was the biggest culprit of that at times. 2 years ago when the Mavericks missed the postseason entirely, there's a player that may be on the Lakers right now that may be a big man, that may be a shooting big man that wanted a bigger contract from the Mavericks and didn't get it, that became a real weak link in the Mavericks defense. And Luka kind of looked across the court and looked at him like, well, if that guy's not playing defense, then I'm not going to play defense either. And it just was an absolutely terrible, and that's why they missed the playoffs that season for many other reasons. But when he is locked in and when he has a good system around him, he can be a good defender. It just depends on when he chooses to be.
He's Nick Angstadt. He covers the Mavericks as the host of the Locked On Mavs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. And I just want to say, for all these Slovenian fans that Nick has entertained for several years now, don't get me wrong, I want you over at Locked On Lakers. I'm very glad to have you, but don't abandon Nick. Like, Nick has been so good to you people. Like, you can do, as we always say on the podcast, first listen, second listen. Make us both your listen. Like, don't do Nick like this. That ain't cool.
Andy, they're gone, man. They're gone. But I'm still here. For whatever Mavericks fans are left, I'm still over here.
Sorry, brother. I tried. Thank you for the time, man. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
That is Nick Angstadt. Again, honestly, if you're looking right now for Dallas's perspective on Luka and just more thoughts on how we got here, who Luka is, what he's going to mean for the Lakers, it is worth listening to Locked On Mavs right now. Coming up next, though, and again, 877-710-ESPN. If you want to weigh in, please keep holding. I will get to you, but we're going to hear from Law Murray next. He covers the Clippers and the NBA for The Athletic. Going to get his thoughts on tomorrow's game, but also his thoughts on the Luka-Laker era that is now upon us. Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA.
Hey guys, it's Sedano. Now here's an important message from my friend, Jacob and Ronnie.
Wildfires can leave lasting scars on our families, our homes, our communities, and our peace of mind. Navigating the recovery process is hard, but you don't have to do it alone. I'm Jacob Amrani, and my team and I are here to help ensure you're treated fairly and get the resources you need. Call us for a free consultation and let us help you rebuild with confidence.
Call Jacob. Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online. I read that black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older, like you, are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Visit WeTalkWeRise.com to learn more. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on SingleCare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to SingleCare.com or download the free app today.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead.
With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one?
We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery?
We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
When it comes to protecting my family's future, I want a life insurance company that's at the top of their game. That's why I got same-day coverage through Ethos. There was no paperwork, no waiting around, and no medical exam. I just answered a few health questions online, and Ethos set me up with a $3 million policy for about $2 a day. Go to tryethos.com and get it done today. That's TRYETHOS.com. TRYETHOS.com. Sample rates as a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
This is Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetsky on 710 ESPN.
It was a massive win at the Garden for the Lake Show on Saturday night, followed by the biggest NBA trade in years. Welcome to the Lakers Luka.
Pre-Luka trade. No idea what this was going to be. Now the path for the Lakers. We don't know everything, but the road that you're traveling on, it's Luka Boulevard.
It's the home of the Lake Show and the home of Lakers Talk.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Back to Andy Kamenetsky.
Here's LeBron backing in Jamal Murray, turns, shoots, no good, rebound AD, slam dunk, and almost a foul by Jokic. Almost a foul, Michael. I thought Jokic hit AD on the arm, but they don't call it. The Lakers have tied the game at 102. Timeout Denver.
Okay, just in case we don't end up getting to it, because we got a lot to get into, including Law Murray, who's about to join in just a second, covers the NBA and the Clippers for The Athletic. I do want to say I'm going to miss AD. I'm going to miss Max Christie. I'm going to miss those dudes. And I think they can help Dallas. And I actually think Max Christie is a sneaky big pickup for Dallas. I'm not going to lie. It's a little emotional seeing those guys go. But there is Luka Dončić. That's pretty great for the Lakers. And we're going to talk about this with Law Murray, covers the NBA and the Clippers for The Athletic. Law, we're going to get to the Clippers game tomorrow because there is a game and the Lakers do need to win it if possible. But your reaction to the Luka deal, did your head explode the way the rest of ours did?
Nah, my head didn't explode. I was chilling on the couch and I just started laughing uncontrollably. I was like, of course. I screenshotted it, but I didn't ask if it was fake. I was just like, this is happening, huh? They really didn't like this dude. They really are going to just trade. I just wanted to have that moment for myself and go from there. I didn't even get my friends don't call me about stuff like this. I didn't get a single phone call, and you know what I'm saying? I just thought it was like, that's funny. I thought it was hilarious.
So it's Lakers exceptionalism on steroids is what you're saying. Like all the PEDs in the world, that's how Luka Dončić ends up a Laker.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait for my power rankings to come out. Normally I just write a couple of graphs and get into the whole rankings and everything. But I'm just going to say I'm going to use your program to plug what I got to really go in on.
Do it.
So I really – and honestly,
it's not even like there's definitely shade. There's definitely shade. So like, you know how people will be like, oh, it's no shade. It's like, nah, there's definitely shade. I was definitely looking at this and was like, of course the Lakers got Luka. Of course AD said all that he said, you know, over these last couple months or whatever, and he winds up taking the fall for the Lakers needing to, you know, progress not just in the short term, but in the long term. I mean, that's kind of how I'm looking at this. But the shade is really for Dallas. Like, I looked at the, you know, when the Commanders beat the Lions last month, Andy, can I just share this with you? Like,
please.
I mean, I was sad for the Lions, and I was like, all right, whatever, the Commanders are going to get it. But I was happy and excited to let everybody know the Dallas Cowboys are the only team in a 16-team conference not to make the NFC Championship since 2010. And forget posting on Instagram. You haven't been able to even send an email about the Cowboys making the NFC Championship game. That city, that fan base, they already were going through it. Imagine making the NBA Finals, okay, and turning around and not even waiting till the next spring to trade the guy most responsible for all those dudes getting back there, okay? Reputations were saved in 2024, and they went and they are trying to justify this move. Good luck to them, but now you see where I'm at.
Yeah.
That was my reaction. Now, what you want to talk about, Nate?
All right. I mean, Law Murray covers the NBA and the Clippers for the Athletic. Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA. I think you made it pretty clear your thoughts on a scale of 1 to 10. How dumb was this by the Mavericks? Probably about a 15. How are you anticipating LeBron and Luka working together? Like, what do you think are going to be the best strengths? What do you think are going to be the areas most difficult to land on?
Yeah, I mean, I remember covering the Clippers, and it was February 2022, and they got Robert Covington from the Portland Trailblazers, which was, you know, a sort of robbery. They got Norman Powell in that deal. They didn't have to give up much. And T. Lue was like, we got 2 Nicos. Well, I mean, now you got 2 LeBrons with the Lakers. It's hilarious, man. I mean, I remember the Mavericks broadcasters, Luka Dončić rookie year. They're like, that's Luka Magic, you know?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they were forecasting how Luka Magic was going to be the second descendant to play for the Lakers franchise since then. So that's what this is. Like, we've seen LeBron play with a lot of different dudes, right? A lot of guys who are capable with the ball in hands. And LeBron was crying out for much of the last few years about having the next guard to play with, you know, especially with the Russell Westbrook experience. He wanted Kyrie. Well, I mean, now you get Luka Dončić. So it's going to be interesting because both of those guys are ball-in-hand guys, but the ball's going to be in Luka's hands. Sorry, Austin Reeves. It's been a good run, but you're going to go back to, you know, doing that thing you were doing while the other point guards were trying to figure out their thing, you know, back when the Lakers used to play 4 of them at the same time. You know, I'm sure Austin will adjust just fine. I'm sure LeBron James, a guy who we've seen do everything off the ball, he shoots, he runs, he cuts, he posts, he does a lot of things offensively. He's going to figure it out. He's LeBron James. Even though he's 40, he's LeBron James. Luka has actually been, you know, we'll talk basketball here. He's touched the ball fewer this season than really any season of his career. Maybe his rookie year, you know, when he wasn't even the true point guard to start. I mean, he was, but Dennis Smith Jr. was on that team until right around this time back in 2019, ironically. Luka is going to have the ball in his hands. I think you play through Luka. Like, you're not going to ask Luka to stand in the corner and watch LeBron and Austin Reeves and whoever else they want to pretend is going to, you know, do stuff while Luka gets healthy and get integrated into whatever JJ is going to run. Luka is going to have the basketball, and everybody else is going to figure it out around him. Defensively, may I say that the trade deadline is Thursday, Andy. So, you know, maybe they recognize that they might want to stop guys from, you know, using the assorted traffic cones that's going to be on the Lakers defense on paper right now.
Yeah.
But offensively, you got 2 LeBrons. That's what it is.
That leads me to the next question I wanted to ask you, Law. We're talking with Law Murray, covers the NBA and the Clippers for The Athletic. Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetsky. We're going to get to the game in just a second, but let's just say the Lakers, for whatever reason, cannot make a move between now and Thursday. How good do you think this group can be this season? You know, LeBron, Luka, Reeves, Rui, DFS, Jackson Hayes. Like they're a 5 seed. It's a very tight, fluid West. If they had to compete as is, do you think that they could get a round or so in the playoffs? More?
I mean, right now, you know, the Denver Nuggets are their first-round opponent. We all know how those matchups has gone. So the answer there, I don't care who the Nuggets line up next to Nikola Jokic. The Lakers, under any version of them. I remember they played only once this year, I believe, and that was back in November, right around Thanksgiving. They had no answers even then, and that was with Anthony Davis on the team. All right, is Jackson Hayes going to be your solution? Are you going to pretend like Rui Hachimura? We saw Rui Hachimura defend Nikola Jokic in Western Conference Finals. You want to try that again? You think that you're going to play small and figure that out? They better get out of that matchup,
right.
I mean, I'm sure the Lakers looked at last year's postseason field, and even with all the drama and expected, slander going on there about what was going to happen with Darvin Ham, I felt like the Lakers were pretty confident in the playoff field unless they got the 17 and had to face the 2-seed Nuggets. Unfortunately, that's what wound up happening. So I don't think the Lakers should look at anybody in the West and feel like they don't have a chance. And that's a good feeling to have. There's one team that they have a physical and mental hurdle against, and if they see that team in the first round, then you can probably plan some things in May if you're a Lakers fan.
Well, I mean, look, the truth is that might have been the case even if AD was still there, because they've just had their struggles against Denver. Regardless, they play the Clippers though tomorrow, Law. And two things I want to ask you before we go. First of all, Norm Powell didn't play Sunday versus Toronto. Any word about his availability tomorrow?
Oh, they playing the Lakers tomorrow. All them guys is back.
Perfect. Excellent. All right. Of course they are.
Except for Cam Christie. And you know what? Cam's not going to play. He's got an ankle sprain, but they also traded that dude, Max Christie.
Yeah.
We only got one Christie Bros matchup for the people, man. That's a damn shame.
The local one, at least. Like, eventually at some point they might meet up, Dallas versus the Clippers. Last thing I wanted to ask you, and I think this is actually interesting for tomorrow, LeBron and J.J. Redick have both talked a lot about the Lakers really needing to be an execution-based team because they're not steeped in enough talent to just coast on how much inherently better they are. Like, maybe that eventually changes when Luka's on the court, but for the time being, they're a team that has to be about discipline and effort and execution. The Clippers consistently are able to execute at a high level and get the most out of their roster, like regardless of who's on it. Why do you think that happens?
Because they're just like the Lakers. They ain't good enough to do anything else. I mean, maybe now with their full roster playing, but for most of this season, the LA Clippers understood that you're at a talent deficit, especially compared to Clippers teams of the past that had Paul George on it. So if that team was going to be worth anything this year, they were going to have to play hard, play with a high sense of urgency, have some attention to detail, and most importantly, those things are going to have to manifest defensively. They were going to have to play together, and they were going to have to play hard for 4 quarters. And, they've done that for the most part. Their consistency can be better. They had a game in Toronto Sunday where it would have been nice if they would have won it and gave themselves a chance to beat the Lakers Tuesday night and pass them in the standings. But because they laid an egg, because they spent the third quarter getting ran off the floor in transition, even if they beat the Lakers will still be ahead of the Clippers in the standings. So what's ironic is the Lakers, their figureheads, they all recognize that they are not playing at the level that the Clippers are as far as that togetherness, as far as that execution to beat the Clippers. But ever since then, they've won 6 out of 8 last time I checked. And they had a very impressive win in New York. And I think that they should keep, that's one that you can hang your hat on. And the next step is beating a Clippers team that absolutely outclassed them at Intuit Dome last month. So we're going to see how the Lakers respond to that, and we're going to see how the Clippers respond to it, because I think you have to respond to your own success. The Lakers had success at Madison Square Garden Saturday night in front of a national audience, while Anthony Davis was still technically a part of their roster. We're going to see if the Clippers can have some success against the Lakers tomorrow. And you know what, Andy? This is the last thing I'll say, because I know you got another guest coming in. I might know this dude. Teron Lewis coached as the Clippers head coach against the Lakers. Every single time he has won the first quarter. We're going to see if that holds up Tuesday night.
It's a hell of a stat right there. He is Law Murray. He covers the Clippers and the NBA for The Athletic. Read his coverage. It is always outstanding. Appreciate the time, brother. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. And shout out to your bro as well.
I'll pass that along, man. Law Murray, again, The Athletic. Read his coverage over there of the NBA and the Clippers. Should be an interesting game tomorrow. As he alluded to, we're going to be joined by Jovan Buha from The Athletic. Covers the Lakers in about 15 minutes. But in the meantime, 877-710-ESPN. If you want to weigh in on the new Luka Dončić era for the Lakers, Anthony Davis being traded, all of it, if you are holding, we are getting to you next. This is Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetsky, 710 ESPN.
Hey, it's Steve Farr. If you're like me, you just don't want to watch the game. You want the best experience every time. That's why Absolute Sport is a game changer. VIP access to the biggest games, exclusive pregame parties, luxury hotels, whether it's courtside, ringside, or the 50-yard.
Hi, my name is Victoria. I am from Silmar, California, and I just want to say thank you to all the firefighters for everything that you've done. You are so brave, so just amazing and brave, and we appreciate everything you've done for the city.
You know, I want to thank them. You know, without them, the fire wouldn't be the way it is right now. You know, little help like you guys asked for. You know, I got a few bobbleheads, a few jerseys, a few shirts that are brand new, and some baseball cards.
Thank you so much for the first responders and for the firefighters that are helping the community and the people of California, and especially Los Angeles. And thank you so much for your work, and keep doing what you're doing. You guys are the real heroes.
My name's Alfredo Famath, and I'm from Silmar, right next to the Hearst fire. We got evacuated, but I really want to thank the firefighters for saving my house and my friends' houses. You know, I appreciate you guys, and without you guys, I don't know where to be at, you know, probably without a home, but I really appreciate everything you guys do for us.
What's up, everybody? Cappy here, InsideCrypto.com, and I just want to take a second to thank all the first responders, the firefighters, but I'm going to take another direction here. I was talking about it on the air. Our friends at Lazy Dog and LA Live have been feeding all these firefighters. I'm going to send a shout out to all the wait staff who are feeding the firefighters, who can then feel good, be nourished, go to sleep, and then get out there and fight those fires. So to everybody that's helping, appreciate all y'all.
Hey, Henry Ramos here from El Monte. Hey, first responders, thank you for everything you guys are doing, and keep fighting on. And this is for Los Angeles. Thank you guys, and keep going. We love you, LA.
Check out their reviews online and call for a no-obligation offer at 888-390-AS-IS, 888-390-2747, and visit sellersadvantage.com.
Don't worry, sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
Lakers Talk continues on 710 ESPN.
Welcome to LA, Luka.
These type of trades never happen.
Well, he just did.
The NBA world is stunned, but the future is bright in Los Angeles.
Back to Luka. Luka, step back, another 380 right in his face. Whoa. Hit it again. And Luka has swished 2 threes.
Yeah. Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
More Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetsky right now.
Saturday.
There it is.
Saturday
there it is
when the world changed. Saturday is when the basketball world changed. Andy Kamenetsky, Lakers Talk, ESPN LA. We're going to be joined in about 10 minutes by Jovan Buha from The Athletic, covers the Lakers. He's got a really good TikTok up right now, breakdown of how this happened over at The Athletic. He's also the host of Buha's Block, great podcast. All y'all should be listening to 877-710-ESPN if you want to weigh in on the Luka Dončić trade. Anthony Davis and Max Christie out, Luka Dončić in. A brand new future for the Lakers. Let's begin with Joe in Ontario. You're on Lakers Talk. What's up, Joe?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I got a bit of a take that I haven't really heard yet. People might disagree with me, but and I love AD. This is not AD slander at all.
Feels like you're about to slander the man.
You know, the Lakers are 4-1 without him, including that big win against the Knicks. And I think not having AD, you know, in the lineup kind of forces the coaches to kind of coach up that defense a little bit more. I don't think they double-team Towns if AD is there. And then the other thing I would say is as great as AD is on the half-court defense, I think he kind of, you know, there's a little bit of a disadvantage sometimes on the transition because he always finishes a lot of his offensive possessions on the floor. And teams get out to running on the Lakers. So, people are, you know, the sky is falling as far as defense goes. But, I mean, they made it work against the Knicks, and they've won the games they needed to when AD sat. So I think, you know, a piece here, a piece there, but I think they can hold it together defensively much better than what people are, you know, putting out there.
I appreciate the call there, Joe. I want to get some other people. But they played incredible against the Knicks on Saturday. That is not a sustainable formula for, like, the next 30-something games. Like, they executed defensively, like, to perfection, but their margin for error executing that well, particularly without Anthony Davis or without even a starting caliber center, your margin for error is really small. And they did that with Max Christie, who was arguably their best perimeter defender and certainly was their best 3-and-D defender. Like, I think he's more athletic than Dorian Finney-Smith. DFS had a really good game. He's going to be extremely useful now. But that standard is really difficult to maintain without AD, and I think AD was the best two-way player in the game last year. Like, in terms of what he provided on both ends of the floor for a team that actually had aspirations and some of the guys that he certainly had to cover for defensively, AD's pretty damn great. And, you know, again, you make that deal if it's offered, but AD's a really, really good player, and I don't think that should be overlooked. Faith in Pomona, you're on Lakers Talk. What's up, Faith?
Hi, how you guys doing? First-time caller. First off, I just want to say thank you, Anthony Davis. 2020 is one of the most meaningful championships of my lifetime. He is undoubtedly the most underrated player in the league. Now, we have to give a ton of credit to Pelinka, in my opinion. Like, for all the things that we give him, like, stuff for, go trade for this player, go trade for that player. Like, I was, like, expecting, like, De'Aaron Fox or Zach LaVine to save us. But he was able to pull off this trade in the secrecy of the night and keep it tight where I don't even think LeBron or Rich Paul knew about it.
By all accounts, Faith, and I appreciate the call. I want to get some other people. They did not know. And, I mean, I plan on talking about this in the next hour, both with Jovan Buha and just in general. Like, for all the criticisms that there have been of Rob Pelinka, some of which I think are deserved, some of which may be overwrought, the one thing that we've heard about Pelinka that has been very consistent and I think was extremely important in this particular deal is that Rob Pelinka is known as somebody who keeps the Lakers business extremely tight. Like, he keeps information locked down. And that was, by all reporting and even what we've heard from Nico Harrison, who runs basketball ops for the Mavericks, from him, that was a huge key, if not maybe the biggest key to this deal getting done, was that it was kept quiet because the Mavericks very clearly, above everything else, I think even more than the return, although they clearly covet Anthony Davis, it was, we want this done quickly and cleanly. We don't want to mess. Rob Pelinka helped make that happen, and that is a characteristic that we've seen from him over the years. He is good at keeping stuff locked down. That was really useful. One more quick call before we get to Jovan Buha. Sam in Northridge. You're on Lakers Talk. What's up, Sam?
Hey, how you doing? I love the show. I was watching you guys. Just want to make sure there's rumors going on that DeAndre Ayton might sign with the Lakers. They're going to trade him. How will that trade work out? I'm loving the trade, by the way. I'm really loving the trade with Luka here.
Good. I appreciate the call. I'd have to look at DeAndre Ayton's salary. Like, I don't know it off the top of my head. He makes a fair amount of money. I don't know if like the base of that is Rui Hachimura. Like, I don't love that. To be totally honest, like DeAndre Ayton has been somebody that getting him motivated, getting him to really play, particularly
sounds good on NBA 2K.
Right. Like he's got a lot of talent.
Yes.
Like the talent
NBA
is
2K
there.
has a lot of talent.
Right. It would really depend on how they make it happen. Like I know that they need size, and you can argue that they need DeAndre Ayton as a prototype more than they need, say, Rui, who I think, I'm guessing DeAndre Ayton makes somewhere between 20 to 30 a season. If I had to guess, you can't do that without Rui. You might need Ayton as a size and prototype more, but I think Rui is a better player.
Ayton makes 33 this year.
That means you're trading Rui. You're not going to trade I can promise they're not going to trade Austin Reeves in that deal. So that's Rui, Gabe, and Filler, unless there's another team involved. Well, no, the Lakers are over the cap. They have to do that. I don't love that. I don't love it. DeAndre, your thoughts?
Nah, I mean, DeAndre Ayton had good years in Phoenix, right? And there's a reason why they shipped him out, and that's why he has those moments where he's played in Portland, and they're like, Chauncey Billups has to go out there and question his energy and effort on the floor. You don't want that.
I don't love that.
Too much money.
Yeah, I know that they need a big man. Like I know this. I don't love that, and I've not.
He's not the design big man what the Lakers need.
Right, and I've not. For what it's worth, I've not seen the rumor that was being referred to. Talk with Jovan Buha about some of the people that the Lakers should be targeting, could be targeting. Lance, I see you holding. Hang in there. Going to get to you in the next hour. And again, 877-710-ESPN for everybody who wants to weigh in. Jovan Buha from The Athletic coming up next. Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA.
This Black History Month, National University honors those who have broken barriers.
With the devastating fires that have struck Southern California, there are options for you if you're dealing with food insecurity. It is the LA Regional Food Bank. You can go to lafoodbank.org/fire. We are also looking for collections from you. All kinds of stuff needed for people that are dealing with the fire right now. Please join us in helping our friends and neighbors who are dealing with this tragedy.
The morning's first breaking news, exclusive interviews, what everyone will be talking about that day. Put some good in your morning and start your day with GMA.
Good morning, America.
Put the good in your morning. GMA 7A on ABC.
Steve Mason and John Ireland.
Mason in Ireland tomorrow at 1 after Travis and DeMarco.
Eddie, you're on Sports Graffiti. Go.
You deserve an apology from all of us because
Yes.
everything you've said, you've been right about everything.
Yes, I am quite something, Eddie.
Wait a minute.
Hey,
Everything he said, he's been right about everything.
Can
Wow.
we turn that into a promo pronto, please?
I'm not sure we need that.
Yeah.
The OGs of LA Sports Radio. That's Mason in Ireland.
On 710 ESPN.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
710 ESPN.
KSPN, Los Angeles.
A Good Karma Brands radio station. 710 ESPN. The radio home of the purple and gold.
Zidrabo, Laker fans. Zidrabo.
Let the Luka era begin for the purple and gold.
Y'all better brush up on your Slovenian people because the Slovenian era of Lakers history is upon us.
The Lakers shocked the NBA world. But what does it mean for the Lakers' chances at another chip? And what does this mean for LeBron?
The Lakers, in the meantime, all of a sudden go from being a team where you are wondering how much longer is the LeBron AD thing going to happen, should happen, what the F comes next?
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Lakers Talk is on. Here's Andy Kamenetsky.
Lakers Talk from now until 8 p.m. Another hour to go. We're looking to track down Jovan Buha from The Athletic. He covers the Lakers. He is as plugged into everything going on with the organization as anybody out there. Buha's block, if you are not listening to the podcast and want to get his thoughts on how this happened, what comes next. This was something that nobody saw coming, at all. The overall consensus is absolutely nobody thought that this was even a possibility. When you look at all the different people who cover the Lakers, cover the NBA, looking at potential trade targets, the biggest name I think we heard was De'Aaron Fox, maybe, from the Sacramento Kings. He is now a member of the Spurs. Or Zach LaVine, who's now with Sacramento, he was part of that deal. His name always gets tossed around, Miles Turner. I don't think he's going to be available just because the Pacers are playing too well, and they're generally not a team that looks to bottom out. But the idea that Luka Dončić would even – forget the idea that he'd be a possibility, that the Mavericks would approach the Lakers, that Nico Harrison, who runs basketball ops for the Dallas Mavericks, would actually broach the idea to Rob Pelinka, would you be interested in Luka Dončić if he were available? That scenario, we're talking about a top 5 player at the absolute worst in the league, just now entering his prime, depending on when you consider the age. He's only 25 right now. He'll be 26 in, I think, about a month. That's when, generally speaking, the prime years start. He's just now entering that. Players of that ilk never become available, much less shopped. And the idea that, on top of it, shopping Luka to the Lakers, the one franchise that is going to create the most resentment possible. The idea that Luka Dončić, forget Dallas trading him, which in and of itself has the entire world's head spinning. Sending that dude to the Lakers? That feels like the joke that writes itself, except DeAndre, that's reality. It feels like the dumbest Photoshop thing you'd see on Twitter, except it actually happened.
Man, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, man. I really am.
Okay, you're hosting the what do you
Lakers Talk Daily.
Lakers Talk
Monday
Daily
through Friday, baby, on ESPN Los Angeles on the YouTube channel.
And it's going to be popping right now. We're going to get some of your thoughts coming up on this
cheap
next
plug.
Hour. You guys know, as the host of Locked On Lakers, available 5 days a week everywhere you get your podcast, Monday through Friday, always free.
Never a plug within a plug. I never heard of that one before.
For the sickos who like to watch, there's a YouTube component. You know I'm all about the cheap plugs. In fact, I'll give them away to Jovan Buha, who covers the Lakers for The Athletic, and he is the host of Buha's Block, the podcast that everybody ought to be listening to after they listen to Locked On Lakers. Jovan, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Okay. You are, I said before, as plugged into the Lakers front office as damn near any reporter out there. Were you as stunned by this turn of events as everybody else?
Yeah, I was. I've been qualifying all of my trade reporting with the caveat that the Lakers tend to operate in silence, but did not anticipate this type of move. I thought maybe, hey, that they're going to pull off like a center we didn't see coming, or some type of acquisition that is going to help with the championship pursuit around LeBron and AD. I did not anticipate them trading LeBron or AD, especially not AD. and especially not for Luka Dončić. So, no, I did not see this one coming at all.
Okay, we're going to get into the silence aspect of this because it's a part of this that I find really interesting, and also, too, it's part of a larger conversation about Rob Pelinka. What surprises you more? That the Lakers were able to get Luka without word of this getting out at all, or that they were able to get Luka without using both firsts?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say it's actually more surprising that they were able to get him without giving up both firsts. I think we can talk. I mean, I think in general, the consensus is obviously that the Lakers fleeced the Mavericks. And I think most people, if they were in the Mavericks position and were deciding that, okay, it's time to give up on Luka Dončić for whatever reason you want to pick, among the many that have leaked out, we should be getting we should be trading him to Houston for Amen Thompson and Tari Eason and multiple first round picks. And it should be let's go get a couple of young stars. Let's start a rebuild or a soft rebuild where we still have Kyrie, we still have Clay, we still have some win now guys. And then we also bring in some young talent, get a bunch of picks. And that typically is how these things go in terms of trading a star, if you're going to trade one. But to trade him for a player who, look, I'm a big Anthony Davis proponent, and I think I've constantly talked that I think he's arguably a top 5 player in the league. But for me, Luka's the second best player in the league, and there is a gap there. And to trade him for a player on a different timeline and who we just don't quite know where AD is going to be in 3 to 5 years in terms of his game. We know where Luka's going to be. He's going to be right in his prime at that point. So I think really it comes down to the package that they picked, and then on top of that, the negotiation of it. Of okay, if you really think AD is the missing piece for defense wins championships and this is the guy you want, then you need to get both first round picks. You need to get Dalton Connect. You need to get a pick swap or two. And then there's a conversation there as to okay, this is probably close to fair value. But I think, frankly, that they sold low on Luka. And it's one thing to even trade him or consider that in the first place. It's another thing to trade him and sell low. And that's, I think, the most damning part of this from the Dallas side is if they held an open bidding, they would have gotten, I'm sure, multiple offers of 4+ first round picks. And I think AD is worth multiple first round picks. So you could technically argue that it's similar to some of those packages. But it just feels specifically with the Lakers, they should have gotten at least both firsts. And the fact that they didn't, that's where they really botched this negotiation, in my opinion.
And we're talking with Jovan Buha, covers the Lakers for The Athletic. You can listen to his podcast, Buha's Block, everywhere you get your shows, and it's really, really good stuff. It's pretty much daily. You should be listening. That gets to a really, I think, interesting piece of this, Jovan, as far as the Lakers making this happen, because I've been getting a lot of questions about whether this changes my opinion of Rob Pelinka, or what does this say about Rob as a GM? Does this validate him? And my answer is, I don't know. In part because I think there's still some TBD between, if not now and Thursday, but just big picture, what gets added around Luka Dončić, in part because it doesn't take basketball IQ or imagination to recognize Luka's really good. If you can get him, by all means, do so. That doesn't require incredible insight. And also, this was so specific, Nico Harrison approaching Rob Pelinka, as opposed to Rob having to somehow Jedi mind trick Nico Harrison into doing this, and targeting the Lakers as the franchise to do this with. Anthony Davis is the player that they want. I'm sure you've gotten versions of that same question too. What, if anything, does this do for your perception of Rob?
Yeah, I think he, to your point, I think anyone would have made this specific trade again when we're talking about what the package ended up being, and not I think it's more of a conversation if Dallas says, hey, we want to trade him. Like, we think he might want to be in LA in the future. We really want Anthony Davis, but this is like the minimum price we're going to ask for, and it's going to be 80, 2 picks, Dalton, and like 2 pick swaps, and we think that's like fair value for Luka. That's more of a conversation, I think, in terms of actually like weighing, is that too much to give up? Is that not, like kind of that calculation there. What they gave up, I think, is like, I think, again, most people would do that if you're in the Lakers position. However, what I think Rob deserves a lot of credit for is getting the price to that, because I think he out-negotiated Nico Harrison in this situation. And I believe there was a report earlier today. I haven't heard this, so I can't speak to it, but that originally the price was a little bit higher, and that Dalton might have been in it, or a second pick might have been in it, and Rob was able to negotiate it down to ultimately what the price was. And I know at The Athletic we reported that the Mavericks originally wanted the second first, and Lakers were able to point to some of the issues that the Mavericks were citing for wanting to trade him, but also him potentially being a free agent in 2026 and some of the uncertainty there. So I think while it is easy to sit on the sideline and say, like, hey, of course anyone would do this trade, I do think from a negotiation perspective, this was a masterclass on his part. And really the code of silence, I think, worked to his favor, because there wasn't, Luka's agent getting involved or Rich Paul getting involved, and this getting complicated, this getting leaked, and the negotiation changing. It was at the top level of the front office and ownership and no one else. And that's ultimately what allowed the Lakers to get the deal that they got. So I do think, Rob, to me, this is the best move he's made as an executive, bar none. I don't think it's close, just because, again, the price that they gave up for this caliber of player is honestly unprecedented.
Yeah, and we're talking with Jovan Buha, covers the Lakers for The Athletic. I want to make it clear, I'm not raising this question because I'm looking for reasons to detract from Rob or trying to but his part in this. The reason I think it's an interesting question is just because this trade was so specifically unusual in a lot of different capacities, all of which lead to why this type of trade frankly never happens. But you hit on the piece of this that I think Rob 100% deserves a ton of credit for and speaks well to him, because this is something we've heard about Rob consistently. He's really good at keeping the Lakers' business locked down and not public. And that's something that's been very consistent with Rob, whether you're talking about low times for the Lakers, high times for the Lakers, when you're evaluating moves that he's made that aren't star-driven, some of which you like, some of which you different, the absolute worst with Russell Westbrook. The one thing that's always been consistent with Rob is he doesn't let stuff leak. Stuff does not get out. And in the case of this situation with the Mavericks, it was very clear, they valued getting it done quickly and cleanly, seemingly more than even what they got for Luka. And between that and the relationship that Rob already had with Nico Harrison, I think he actually set himself up well for an opportunity like this, even if you can't necessarily credit him for the opportunity happening.
Yeah, exactly. I would say he was gift wrapped, a generational superstar on a golden platter, and I would say a golden parachute into the post-LeBron era. But he maximized the negotiation. I really don't think you could have given up less than they gave up.
Yeah.
I think in an ideal world, you probably keep Max Christie. I think Max Christie versus a first is kind of interesting, because I think you're hoping to find a Max Christie on, that was more of a salary thing in terms of salary matching there. But really, this was about the least you could give up for Luka Dončić, and that, again, I think based on Rob being the primary negotiator there and the primary decision maker,
he's the only negotiator.
There's a lot of credit.
From everything that's been reported or what we've heard, it's so tight. It is Rob. You have.
Even Nico, hinted that Rob laughed when he first proposed the deal to him, and that and his owner laughed at him. Like I don't. I mean, it's on one hand a Rob Pelinka masterclass, on one hand a Nico Harrison disaster class.
From your understanding, we're talking with Jovan Buha, covers the Lakers for The Athletic. How aggressively do you anticipate the Lakers being for the rest of the trade deadline? And is there anybody you can think of that may be a target?
Yeah, my understanding, and this is with conversations with people close to the situation, is to temper expectations and that, realistically, if the Lakers make a move, it'll likely be more of, a smaller move. However, that was also the intel that was out there as recently as 72 hours ago. So I would not be surprised if the Lakers had something else up their sleeves and end up pulling off a surprise trade. At the same time, I think they are a little bit more limited now in terms of their assets. They only have one pick to trade, and from my understanding, they're more on a Luka timeline now than a LeBron timeline, which doesn't necessarily mean that they feel like they have to go all in for the rest of this season or even for next season. They do want to be smart in how they build out this roster around Luka Dončić longer term. So I think if they do acquire anybody, that they're going to be trying to acquire younger players either on team-friendly contracts or players on just not gargantuan salaries that are going to compromise their ability to potentially add a high-impact free agent in 2026. I mean, they could have max cap space in 2026, depending on what happens with LeBron. And that's a great free agent class if you look at the names that are going to be available. So I do think there's an element of looking more toward the future here. However, I do know that they are aware they need a center upgrade. Jackson Hayes, for this group, is clearly more of a backup caliber option than a starting caliber option. So I think for them, it's trying to find a new starting center. It's just, I think an order of magnitude of is it going to be maybe a better backup type center that just replaces Jackson, or is it going to actually be a more higher impact center? So one name that I think does make some sense with their current options could be a Robert Williams. In Portland. Now, the reason he'd be available is because he has an extensive injury history, and Portland's been kind of careful with his role and his minutes. But I do think if you look at Luka, he is incredible with a lob threat, and Robert Williams is an awesome lob threat. He's also an elite rim protector and on a per possession basis an elite rebounder. Yep. So if you could get Robert Williams from Portland and plug him into a 20 to 24 minute a night starting role, and the rest of the time, maybe Jackson gets a couple of shorter shifts, and then you play small ball for 15 minutes a night, which I think JJ would love. You can, I think, get by and then really just kind of maximize the other four positions. So I don't have a great, I think Robert Williams and Day'Ron Sharpe are two names that I've heard in the last few days, but outside of those two, I think it's the usual suspects. I don't think they have enough for Walker Kessler currently. Even Dalton in a first, I don't know if that's going to get done. Miles Turner, I think maybe but they're going to have to push a lot of chips in to get him. Jakob Poeltl is another name I've heard thrown around. So those are some of the center names that the Lakers have had interest in. It's just right now it's a pretty competitive market. Every team can seemingly use another center, and some of these guys, I think the asking prices are not a first or maybe multiple seconds if you could find a way to trade an asset for that. It's we want a first plus something else, and I think that price is a little too high for the Lakers.
Talking with Jovan Buha, covers the Lakers for The Athletic. He's the host of Buha's Block. Great podcast y'all should be listening to, Laker fans. Last question for you. What does it mean for the Lakers just to have a path forward that is definitively mapped out? They are in the Luka Dončić business. The future is Luka.
I think it means everything. I think, the Lakers have a history of finding these generational superstars and acquiring them. And I think this gives them, there was certainly some uncertainty of what the post-LeBron era was going to look like, especially because if LeBron, let's just say hypothetically, retires in 2026, at that point, AD was going to be 33 going on his age 34 season. So AD would not be a spread necessarily. And at that point, you're looking for that second star, but you're also kind of aging out with AD. Now, Luka, if LeBron retires in 2026, Luka's going to be 27, going on his age 28 season. So he's just going to be hitting his prime with a significant free agent class, and the Lakers potentially having max cap space. So you have the possibility to add a big-time free agent, or you have some flexibility on the trade market, and you could do a sign or something. So they have the optionality now moving forward by basically flipping AD to a younger player by 6 years, but also a better player and one of the best on offensive and just on ball players in the league. I just think that combination makes this far more attractive, in my opinion. You could have looked at it as hey, they can go get a ball handler or a perimeter scorer next to AD, and that could be an attractive thing. But having Luka as your centerpiece, just hitting his prime in LA, and just that selling point to me is going to be very attractive to basically any type of star. You can plug in anyone around Luka, and they will fit, and he will make them better. So I think I think there was a lot of murkiness moving forward with the Lakers and what things are going to look like once LeBron retired. Now they have a clear path, really one of the best paths in the NBA. ESPN always does the future power rankings. I assume the Lakers will be much higher in that ranking than they were previously. And outside, maybe San Antonio with Wembanyama and Fox, OKC, and Denver still has Jokic. Boston. There's a few teams you could put up there, but the Lakers are right there as I'd put them as a top 5 team moving forward in terms of future capabilities. So that's a much different position than they were in as recently as 48 hours ago.
I had not thought about the Lakers' future power rankings, but it's always nice when everybody thinks you've actually got a path to travel down. It's a nice place to be in. He is Jovan Buha. He covers the Lakers for The Athletic. He's the host of Buha's Block. You all should be listening to it if you're Laker fans. It's great stuff. Appreciate the time, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
Again, Jovan Buha from The Athletic. 877-710-ESPN if you want to react to what you've heard from Nick Angstadt, from Law Murray, from Jovan Buha. If you got other thoughts about the Lakers trading Anthony Davis and Max Christie and a first for Luka Dončić, the future, everything with the Lakers. 877-710-ESPN. This is Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA.
Plan your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino, official Native American resort and casino of the Los Angeles Lakers. See for yourself what made readers of Newsweek and USA Today name Pechanga the best casino outside of Las Vegas. Pechanga has
ESPN LA and Beverly Hills Ortho are teaming up because we want to know who's smiling in SoCal. Go to ESPNLA.com and nominate who you think is making LA a better place. Could be a mentor, a teacher, a coach, a good Samaritan, or you could nominate yourself. You could win prizes like sweet tickets, Sonic Care electric toothbrushes, whitening treatment, or the grand prize, Invisalign. Enter now at ESPNLA.com, and remember, you're always smiling at Beverly Hills Ortho. Making LA a better place. This can be a mentor, a teacher, a coach, a good Samaritan, a youngster who brightens your day. Tell us who's smiling and you could win some awesome prizes like sweet tickets from ESPN LA, Sonic Care electric toothbrushes, whitening treatment, and a grand prize of Invisalign from Beverly Hills Ortho. Enter now at ESPNLA.com, and remember, you're always smiling at Beverly Hills Orthodontics.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, Hims can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
All the latest surrounding the Lake Show, right here on Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetsky.
It's a blockbuster deal like only the Lakers can pull off.
All of a sudden, we see this news breaking from Shams that the Lakers have acquired Luka Dončić, traded Anthony. Yeah, I'm like, what?
Luka is a Laker.
And then it's retweeted with, "This is real," which, by the way, if you are hacking Shams, is exactly the retweet that you would put out there. This is real.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Now back to Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetsky.
Not that Luka Dončić needed any extra fame. Pretty famous dude as it is, but that if it is possible for anybody who's already a global icon to become an even bigger one, I know I'm already hearing from a lot of Slovenians over on the Locked On Lakers YouTube channel. I know we've been picking up subscribers. I hear from on Twitter. Zdravo, all of you. Welcome to Lakers fandom. We think you're going to enjoy it. We know you already love Luka. Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA, 877.
I can already see a Slovenia flag behind you next week for the show.
I heard that your comment section was popping off with a bunch of Slovenians, man.
We've been getting, and I feel bad for Nick Angstadt because, quite frankly, a lot of these were his people. Like, I mean, they really were.
They defected, huh?
A lot of them were Nick Angstadt's. He called. I don't remember how it came up, the backstory, but they're called the Raccoon Squad. Like they this group of Mavericks fans. I don't remember how they became known as the Raccoon Squad. But, like, it's a big Mavericks fan cultural thing. Like, I think it's not even just online. I think it's like an in-arena thing. Like, Nick would sometimes hear from these Mavericks fans, presumably also Luka fans, part of the Raccoon Squad. I have heard from the Raccoon Squad. I've seen them now on the Locked On Lakers YouTube channel.
Hopefully they make it a crypto.
If you are a local Raccoon Squad member, you are welcome at Crypto anytime. Man, this is exciting. Moving forward, this is really exciting for the Lakers. Lance in Torrance, you're on Lakers Talk. What's up, Lance?
How you doing? Thanks for taking my call. I just want to give a shout-out to the owners and then Rob Pelinka for finally making a move that kind of I'm standing up to this. The owners made a statement with this trade, basically telling the team members that you are employees and you will cooperate. So whatever drama Luka had in Dallas, not coming into training camp or doing whatever he was doing, they made a statement. We can move on without you. Rob Pelinka made a statement to LeBron by not telling him. We're done. The clutch sports mafia is over with now. LeBron can either stay or retire next year and do a farewell to him and be done. But the Lakers are moving on. I'm happy with this move. No one lost in this trade. Everybody keeps thinking Dallas is going to be a better team with Anthony Davis there. Defensively, they're going to be a lot better. You have Kyrie, you have Clay. Anthony Davis plays his natural position now. The Lakers, they didn't lose this move. They can build around Luka. Like I said, the only key piece now is really for LeBron to retire, free up cap space, and start moving forward. There's no reason for LeBron to stay on any longer.
Well, I appreciate the call, Lance. And there's a bunch of things I want to get into that. First of all, the reaction of LeBron. He has not said anything publicly, but per Brian Windhorst, who from ESPN has covered LeBron forever, as connected as any reporter who covers the NBA, this sounds like something that LeBron is, even if he was taken by surprise, bit sideswiped by like the rest of us, he's going to be all right with.
LeBron has dreamed about playing with Luka Dončić for years. This is something he never thought, but he badly, badly wanted. When Luka was deciding where he was going to go within Nike, LeBron pressed him very hard to come to his shoe brand within Nike. He ended up going with the Jordan brand, but he was trying to recruit him then. He saw a vision of the two of them playing together. A couple of years ago, Kyrie Irving tried to get LeBron to figure out a way to get to Dallas. And LeBron said, no, Kyrie, come to LA. But, the reason that Kyrie wanted to think to see if that was possible when LeBron was a free agent was because he knew that the Luka-LeBron connection was there. So I'd have to think about it and see them play together. But this, while LeBron is losing a teammate that he's won a championship with, and I'm sure when he was brought with this, he was in shock. I haven't spoken to him or heard from him, but I have to assume that he will have a lot of excitement because he has dreamed of this, and I'm sure he thought it was never going to happen in his career.
And Brian, when talking about the possibility of LeBron and Luka, once the initial shock of this wears off, because I'm sure it was shocking for LeBron on some level, like by all outward indications, everything I've ever heard, every appearance, LeBron and AD were legitimately tight. Like they obviously played really well on the court together. Every indication I've ever gotten is they were close as friends. So this is going to be weird for him. That being said, though, we're always talking about, LeBron 40, season 22, having to pace himself during the season. Like, he'll ramp it up when the playoffs start or some of the national TV games that really matter. But, like, it's a slog for him. And I think even as much as he appreciated what AD brought to the table on the court, he's been doing this with AD for 5.5 years. He's done it with him in the Olympics. Like, there's an element of been there, done that. And an element of staleness, and also, frankly, a level of it's been really hard. With Luka coming in, it's not just, I think, the idea that he can make LeBron's life easier in certain respects, like literally the stuff that LeBron does. Luka is the closest thing we've had to LeBron, other than maybe Nikola Jokic, but certainly as a player who is anywhere from 1 to 4 position-wise, depending on who they happen to be on the floor with. It's the closest thing to LeBron. This is something new for LeBron. This is something different for LeBron. And this feels to me like something that may energize LeBron because it's genuinely exciting. As far as the piece about, Rob taking some control or perceived control from Clutch, certainly Nico Harrison not worrying about Luka Doncic's feelings and all this, there's an element of, no question, Rob Pelinka in making this deal in secrecy without talking to LeBron, without talking to Clutch. There's a practical piece of this. If you want to keep it quiet, if you want to keep this thing locked down, which was very much a consideration for Nico Harrison, you can't let anybody in. Because if, say, for whatever reason, LeBron doesn't like it, Clutch doesn't like it because of the Anthony Davis piece of it, Luka doesn't like it, like whoever, then it can get out and it gets scuttled and it becomes messy on maybe the Lakers side, definitely Dallas's side, and it was clear they did not want a mess. They wanted quick, clean, in and out. And you have to do that if you're Rob. You have to risk, I guess, if you want to call it that, alienating LeBron and Clutch to make this happen. But it's also, look, I would like to think that LeBron and Rich Paul, they can understand, like, the businessmen that they are, Rich Paul, the negotiator that he is. I'd like to think that they can understand, like from a pragmatic standpoint. But even if they don't, like, there's no question, this move marked a prioritization of Luka Dončić over LeBron. Like, moving forward, it goes unsaid, but Rob Pelinka doing it this way is him saying, if I have to alienate LeBron in the process, I will do it because my higher priority is Luka Dončić for the future. And by the way, that is the right priority. No disrespect to LeBron, but that is the correct priority. LeBron is 40, Luka's 25, and he's a transcendent talent. Johnny in LA, you're on Lakers Talk. What's up, Johnny?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. So I think there's a natural inclination for fan bases to inflate the value of their own players and, at the same time deflate the value of other teams' players. And so I understand the pushback, the emotional connections that we have to the ADs, to Max Christie's. But I'm curious curious to get your thought on how the media is retaining the win-loss side of the trade and how that could be impacting, how the fan base is looking at it. Because for me, I love AD. AD is my second favorite Laker of all time. I don't think what he does on the defensive end can be duplicated or replicated in any sense. I think he's that good. But like you're talking about, right, the future of the franchise, to be able to get a Luka Dončić for what we were able to get him for, I think it's a no-brainer. But when you start to hear the Charles Barkleys of the world, you start to hear, Perk and who won the trade, and now all of a sudden, AD isn't street clothes. The Mavs are the number one seed in the West. Like, how do you think that framing is impacting how Laker fans might be viewing the trade?
I appreciate the call, Johnny. I mean, look, as far as the Charles Barkley piece of this, Charles Barkley will always say the Lakers lost whatever. He will always say the Lakers are going to be bad. He will always say the Lakers are bad. He loves to cap on the Lakers. Whether it is because he has something against the Lakers or whether it's because he knows it's a great way to get a reaction and he's in the content business, I have no idea. I've met Barkley in passing and he was very cool, but he clearly enjoys taking digs at the Lakers for whatever reason. So Charles Barkley knows more about basketball than I ever will, but I don't take his analysis of this deal seriously. I mean, just being blunt, I don't, because whatever the Lakers do, he will say the Lakers ended up on the bad end of it. As far as the idea that how the media is covering, I mean, it's hard to know for sure because there's a lot of us out here. There's a lot of folks yapping, and I'm just one of them. I think some of this is colored by, however you land on it, it's just such an unusual trade. And it was so unexpected, and things like this just don't happen. I mean, this is a trade that it's very difficult to come up with even a comp for it. Like the idea that a team puts their superstar talent, like this guy is a true superstar, Luka Dončić. He is somebody that is on pace to have one of the all-time great careers. He's already 5-time All-NBA, I believe first team, but certainly 5-time All-NBA. He has taken a team to the finals at age 24. He's an incredible talent, and teams rarely ever want to trade someone like that, much less proactively, much less before their prime, much less before the player even asks out. So in that sense, I think if some of the coverage of it just seems wild or all over the place, I think it's just because everybody, myself included, is still just trying to wrap their heads around it. Coming up, we're going to take more of your calls, 877-710-ESPN. Hang in if you're holding. Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA.
Hey, it's Bethel Duran. When you get into an auto collision and damage your vehicle, there's only one spot for you to call. That's my guy, Lee.
Hi, my name is Victoria. I am from Silmar, California, and I just want to say thank you to all the firefighters for everything that you've done. You are so brave, so just amazing and brave, and we appreciate everything you've done for the city.
I want to thank them. Without them, the fire wouldn't be the way it is right now. Little help like you guys asked for. I got a few bobbleheads, a few jerseys, a few shirts that are brand new, and some baseball cards.
Thank you so much for the first responders and for the firefighters that are helping the community and the people of California, and especially Los Angeles. And thank you so much for your work, and keep doing what you're doing. You guys are the real heroes.
My name's Alfredo Famath, and I'm from Silmar, right next to the Hearst fire. We got evacuated, but I really want to thank the firefighters for saving my house and my friends' houses. I appreciate you guys, and without you guys, I don't know where to be at, probably without a home, but I really appreciate everything you guys do for us.
What's up, everybody? Cappy here, InsideCrypto.com, and I just want to take a second to thank all the first responders, the firefighters, but I'm going to take another direction here. I was talking about it on the air. Our friends at Lazy Dog and LA Live have been feeding all these firefighters. I'm going to send a shout out to all the wait staff who are feeding the firefighters, who can then feel good, be nourished, go to sleep, and then get out there and fight those fires. So to everybody that's helping, appreciate all y'all.
Hey, Henry Ramos here from El Monte. Hey, first responders, thank you for everything you guys are doing, and keep fighting on. And this is for Los Angeles. Thank you guys, and keep going. We love you, LA.
321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HUNK to 321321. That's HUNK to 321321.
This is Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetsky on 710 ESPN.
It was a massive win at the Garden for the Lake Show on Saturday night, followed by the biggest NBA trade in years. Welcome to the Lakers Luka.
Pre-Luka trade. No idea what this was going to be. Now the path for the Lakers. We don't know everything, but the road that you're traveling on, it's Luka Boulevard.
It's the home of the Lake Show and the home of Lakers Talk.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Back to Andy Kamenetsky.
Lakers Talk until 8 o'clock tonight. Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA. There's music in the air. The world feels like this George Benson song. It just feels up and bubbling and everybody's happening. Paradise, baby. Luka Dončić, he is a Laker. He's going to be introduced tomorrow, by the way. 9 a.m. at the facility, and it's hard to remember. The Lakers actually play a game tomorrow. They're going to be playing a game
on the road.
On the road,
technically on the road,
all the way to Intuit. What time is that? Is that a 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock game.
7 o'clock. So 5:30 with Beto Duran. Like I've completely forgotten. There's actually a season. It just seems like we're focusing on Luka Dončić. Take some more of your calls. Greg in Harbor City. You're on Lakers Talk. What's up, Greg?
Hi. I just had a question.
Sure.
In order to fill center position, there's only so much out there, almost like non-existent for anything. Would the Lakers consider anybody not even in the league just to get a warm body in there? Like,
does his name rhyme with Height Dwoward?
It sounds like that, yes.
No. No. Dwight Howard, appreciate the call, Greg. Dwight's last stint with the Lakers, to be totally honest, he was not very good. He looked...
Still begging him to come back.
I know he is, and honestly, he needs to stop.
His tweets are hilarious, dude. Man. Oh, my goodness.
Dwight has become the equivalent of John Cusack in Say Anything when he's holding the boombox in front of Ione Sky's house. Like, Dwight might as well have that boombox with In Your Eyes
with
playing,
that trench coat.
Like in El Segundo. Like, we get it. You wish that you had never left with the Lakers, and, like, Dwight was great in 2020. It was an awesome story. He redeemed his reputation. Like, it was very cool to see. The 2022 version of Dwight was not effective. Like, it just wasn't. He's 3 years older. Like, that's not a solution. That's not the direction to go. Plus, I'm just concerned about encouraging it at all. Like you're just leading it. I feel like giving Dwight a tryout is only going to, like, keep this thing going, like, through 2029, 2030. Like, I feel like it's almost for Dwight's own sake that we just don't allow this to manifest. Joe in the IE, you're on Lakers Talk. What's up, Joe?
Andy, how you doing, big boss?
Good, man.
Hey, man, I just wanted to call. Two quick things. First off, I want to say a lot of people are coming at the package that we sent to Dallas, and I think they're not looking at it right, because mostly like trades, you get a gang of picks, but you don't get no useful players. So Anthony Davis, I would say if you put him in a trade, if we traded AD in our own trade outside of this one, we could have got probably like 2 or 3 first rounders for him. And Max Christie, he's worth the first round. So that's 4 first rounders equivalently with the one. So they kind of got like a 5 first round pick value to me.
Yeah,
so I don't know why they're crying so much. I don't know why they're crying so much. We really gave them a top 10 player. So they need to be grateful that we didn't just give them Austin Reeves and Rui for Luka Dončić. So they need to stop crying over there.
Appreciate the call, Joe. Thank you. First of all, some of this gets inflated just because, like, Rudy Gobert, that trade, it was like 5 first-round picks or something.
I believe 4.
4 or 5.
Yeah, whatever.
you have to remember that for Minnesota, you don't ever get opportunities at free agents that are at Rudy Gobert's level. Like, I know Rudy Gobert is polarizing. I know he rubs a lot of people, including Luka Dončić, the wrong way. But, like, Rudy Gobert is a multiple Defensive Player of the Year recipient. He's won rebounding titles. Like, he's probably going to the Hall of Fame, whether people like it or not. Like, if he wins, like, one title combined with all the Defensive Player of the Years, he's probably going. Like, and the Timberwolves don't get free agents. So for them, Rudy Gobert, you gotta pony up, and it becomes worth it in order to make that happen. Like, if you want someone at that level, like the Mikal Bridges thing with the Knicks, that was like very specifically the Villanova thing. Like, these things, sometimes I think you can't measure them trade by trade by trade. You have to weigh the context. But yeah, Anthony Davis on the open market would be worth at least 2 first-round picks, maybe more. I mean, he is at worst like top 15 in the league. I think he's closer to top 10. I've said before, I think he was the best two-way player in the league last year, like playing first team all defense and giving you 25 a game. Like, he was the only player in the league who made all NBA and all defense. I mean, like, Anthony Davis is really, really good. Like, he's elite at what he does. Max Christie, if he keeps playing the way he is right now, he's what you hope to draft in the first round. Like, Max Christie is playing like somebody that at minimum is a mid-first round pick. So I think Joe is onto something when he says, like, that's kind of the equivalent of that first round value. I think some of this is just Luka Dončić. If he had been on the open market in a bidding war, you might have been able to get more stuff for him than what the Lakers gave. Like, you almost certainly would have. But Dallas wanted to do this in a very specific way, keeping it quiet. And also, too, it's very clear they want AD. Like, they apparently have tried to get AD before. Like, Nico Harrison has that relationship going back to his time with Nike with Anthony Davis. He bet on Kyrie Irving when everyone thought that Dallas was crazy to make that deal. He bet on Kyrie in part because of his relationship going back to Nike again.
And he also made some really good deals at the trade deadline last year, too.
So, look, is this what I would have done if I was Nico Harrison? No, it's not. And it's also worth remembering, I don't know how much of this, although it seems like it's possible, was ownership telling Nico Harrison, we are not going to pay Luka Dončić moving forward. We don't want to do that. Handle it however you want, but we are not going to pay him. So it's your call what to do with that information, but just know we are not giving Luka a supermax. So from there, it's Nico Harrison's call what to do with that information, and we saw what he did. One more call, Mike in Redlands. You're on Lakers Talk. What's up, Mike?
Yeah, hey, how's it going? One thing I just wanted to bring out is with the Pelinka, keeping it under wraps, it's a great thing, but one thing it does is it shoots a message to the league and to all these agents that try to hold teams hostage with having to run things through them first. But with Jeannie doing this and Pelinka, it's making everyone know that, hey, this is our team, our business. We'll do what we need to do to make our business better and not run things through you.
Yeah, I appreciate the call, Mike. I wouldn't read too much into this in terms of the Lakers moving forward saying we are no longer going to be catering to the agents, catering to the stars, like we own this bleep now moving forward. Like, the Lakers are still going to be an organization that caters to their superstars and puts their superstars on big-time pedestals. It's the way they've always operated. I expect it's going to be the way they operate moving forward. I mean, I'm very interested, to be honest, in seeing if the conditioning issues with Luka moving forward continue. Will the Lakers have the cojones to confront Luka about this? Like, to be direct about it and say, like, we need you to do this better. Because generally speaking, this is not an organization that is confrontational with their superstars. They tend to be much more placating. And, they pride themselves. It's part of their ethos in we treat superstars the right way. So there is good and bad about that depending on the context. I think this was much more about if the Lakers wanted Luka, they had to operate in a code of secrecy. It's like the way this happened, it's very similar to what Jimmy Conway, Robert De Niro said in Goodfellas.
Never rat on your friends, and always keep your mouth shut.
That's how Rob Pelinka made this happen. Coming up next, do a little crunch time. Funchy leads it as always. Lakers Talk, ESPN LA.
Hey, it's DeMarco. I know a thing or two about Super Bowls. I've been there, won that. If you want to experience the big game like a pro,
with the devastating fires that have struck Southern California, there are options for you if you're dealing with food insecurity. It is the LA Regional Food Bank. You can go to lafoodbank.org/fire. We are also looking for collections from you. All kinds of stuff needed for people that are dealing with the fire right now. Please join us in helping our friends and neighbors who are dealing with this tragedy.
LAFD to 24-365.
Thank you and stay safe.
Hey, it's Mace. As LA deals with tragedy, our friend Jacob Imrani has a special message for you.
Wildfires can leave lasting scars on our families, our homes, our communities, and our peace of mind. Navigating the recovery process is hard, but you don't have to do it alone. I'm Jacob Imrani, and my team and I are here to help ensure you're treated fairly and get the resources you need. Call us for a free consultation and let us help you rebuild with confidence. Call Jacob.
ESPN LA and Beverly Hills Orthodontics are teaming up because we want to know who's smiling in SoCal. Go to ESPNLA.com and nominate who you think is making LA a better place. This can be a mentor, a teacher, a coach, a good Samaritan, a youngster who brightens your day. Tell us who's smiling and you could win some awesome prizes like sweet tickets from ESPN LA, Sonic Care electric toothbrushes, whitening treatment, and a grand prize of Invisalign from Beverly Hills Ortho. Enter now at ESPNLA.com and remember you're always smiling at Beverly Hills Orthodontics.
It's crunch time on Lakers Talk.
When the clock is ticking and it's all coming down to the wire, you know what that means.
This is crunch time.
All right, as always on Lakers Talk, we close out with a little crunch time. Funchy leads. What's up, Funchy?
Well, there was another big trade over the weekend. There was De'Aaron Fox from Sacramento going to the Spurs, where he's going to team up with Victor Wembanyama. He goes to Sacramento. He goes to San Antonio. Sacramento gets Zach LaVine from Chicago, and Chicago gets some spare parts. Kevin Huerter, and some spare parts. Any reaction to that? What do you think? Who won the trade? Is San Antonio going to jump to number 6, number 5? Because that's what I think that is going to happen.
I don't know if they can make up that type of ground. Like, that's a lot of ground to make up. So, I think if they make the play-in, that'll be a success, and we'll see where it goes from there. But, like, in terms of star power, obviously De'Aaron Fox is not at the level as Luka Dončić, and, coming to the Lakers is not the same thing as going to the Spurs. But in certain ways, I think this was as landscape changing for the NBA as Luka going to the Lakers, just in the sense that you have a star player. I don't want to say forcing his way. That's a little strong. But San Antonio.
He did call his shot.
San Antonio was his first choice. And
did Babe Ruth that thing?
It's because of Victor Wembanyama, and I've actually been saying for a little while, you can find this on Locked On Lakers. I know I've brought it up on 710. I didn't think we were that far because of how good Wembanyama is, and we live in an age now where you don't have to be on the Lakers to be seen. You don't have to be on the Knicks to be seen, on the Bulls or the Warriors. Like, it's great, and that stuff can break a tie, but between social media and branding opportunities that players have, with their own podcasts and the NBA package and all this other more nationally televised games, like San Antonio in the Tim Duncan era is not going to be as left out of free agency and stars as, now. Like, you can go to San Antonio and not worry about your star and what you can do with it, like your opportunities. And Wembanyama is so damn good. A lot of players can be like, look, man, is San Antonio my first choice to live? No, but I'm only going to be living there half the year anyway.
Oh, lease.
In the summer, I can live wherever I want, and that dude is going to make my life so much easier. He's going to put me in a position to win a championship. Like, it is not going to be long before that guy could be the best player in the league for several years running. So I think if nothing else, Fox going to San Antonio is a reminder that we ain't living in 1995 anymore, or even 2000.
Quickly, 30 seconds on what it means for Sacramento.
They're always
nothing.
A mess.
Zach LaVine going to get in a trade block again.
Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan reunited again.
Like Ashford and Simpson.
I heard Matt George, who covers the Kings for Locked On, Kings, talk about, if nothing else, you're going to see more playmaking from Malik Monk. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
He's improved a lot over the last few years.
Also got one more thing to talk about. Just one quick prediction for Sunday. Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, I was like, what NBA games are playing?
Super Bowl Sunday. Eagles, Chiefs. Who you got?
I mean, I'm staring at DeAndre.
Who cares?
Hoodie.
That's right. Come on now.
It seems to me like across the board on paper, the Eagles are the more talented team.
That's right.
However, Mahomes and Andy Reid, three-peat opportunity, it feels very Thanos inevitable. Like, even if from, like, intellectually I look at this, I'm like, the Eagles look like the better team. Saquon Barkley has been amazing, and the Eagles should win this game. Like, I think Jalen Hurts, because he's not Patrick Mahomes, leads to people underrating him. Like, he may not be elite, but he's really good. Jalen Hurts is a really good quarterback. But, man, the Chiefs are so hard to – they got to the Super Bowl, and excuse me, I've been barely impressed by him all year.
You know what they say, Andy?
What?
Let me hear you all say E-L-G-S-E-S, Eagles! Let's go, Birds!
DeAndre, your prediction?
Don't know how she misspelled the Eagles. I mean, to this day, I don't understand.
Play it one more time.
Let me hear you all say E-L-G-S-E-S, Eagles!
Okay,
Let's go, Birds!
I missed that for a second because I was coughing. What is that, Elgles?
Yes.
It's like the chefs in that Snickers commercial.
She's one big want-to-get-away commercial.
All right.
You know what she should have done? She should have paced herself and started with spell birds.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, hopefully not B-U-R-D-S.
Birds.
Poor lady. But I think it'll be a good game regardless. I think it's actually going to be a really entertaining game no matter how the thing shakes out. And it's going to be a really entertaining, fascinating future for the Lakers. Luka Dončić will be introduced tomorrow at the facility in El Segundo, 9 a.m. I'm sure Travis and DeMarco is going to have a lot of coverage of that tomorrow. We're going to have wall-to-wall of it on 710 leading up to, again, there is actually a game playing tomorrow. Lakers-Clippers, 7 o'clock. Beto Duran on the pregame coverage beginning at 5:30. Thank you to Nick Angstadt, to Law Murray, to Jovan Buha, all of you dropping by during a really busy period for the NBA. Thank you to everybody listening with Lakers Talk. Next week, we're going to be on February 14th, Valentine's Day. We'll be there. Interesting holiday.